With slot management, we will cover FlexPool, Ageup, and contract activity reports. This is a list of the agenda. In addition to what's on that front slide, we'll also cover common issues and questions. Slot management, this applies to contract placements only which were awarded to providers through a competitive process. The number of hours are based on the authorization. That's whether it's full or part-time. A full-time placement equals 1 slot. This includes school-age intermittent, and this is for up to 50 hours of care. A part-time placement equals half a slot, and this is up to 30 hours of care. There's a chart on slide 6 for additional guidance. That's the slot utilization chart. So types of income eligible slots. We have regular, which includes supportive, income eligible, teen, and homeless. We have QRIS, which if awarded are available to providers with a QRIS level of 2 or above. We have income eligible flex. This is for Ageup and DCF continuity within the same umbrella. Teen parent and homeless contracts are not eligible for FlexPool. There's also expansion. This is supportive DCF placements only. CCFA analyzes slot utilization daily and will balance the slots by automatically aging up any children. If there are no slots available, CCFA will place that child in FlexPool up to 5% above the contract award. If the contract is overutilized, the provider will receive a notification on the CCFA dashboard. Slots utilized by school-age children should not be split for both center-based care and for FCC over 2. There are validations that occur when the subsidy administrator enters the placement. CCFA looks at the entire placement time period and checks to see if there is an available slot and if you are under the 5% flex. If no slots are available, for reassessment, the child is placed in flex. If the placement is for a new authorization or you are at that 5% flex, you are prevented from completing the placement, except for a DCF child transitioning to income eligible. This slide shows a graphic of how CCFA manages slot allocation. There's a nightly check at 9 p.m. that identifies all flex or expansion placements in order by contract and placement start date. This ensures that the oldest flex or expansion placements are moved to the regular QRS lines when they are made available. CCFA then checks for any vacant regular QRS slots on the contract. And when a regular QRS slot is available, the flex or expansion placement is ended as of the day of the slot check, and a new regular QRIS placement is added starting the next day with the original end date from the flex expansion placement. So again, this graphic is showing what CCFA does on a nightly basis. This is what has happened when you see that placement aged up notification, that CCFA has kind of gone through this process and aged up that child for you and ended the old placement and created a new one. This is that slot classification chart that I was referencing. It breaks down the different types of placements along the top and whether they're eligible for half or full, and then it breaks down the different programs along the side. And so you can check and see whether that placement is using a full slot, a half slot, or if that type of slot is not applicable to that program. So moving on to age up. A child's age determines his or her program placement. When a child's age surpasses that of his or her current program, CCFA will attempt to automatically age the child up. The exception is preschool to school age, which we will talk about a bit later, a few slides down. And then note that CCFA will allow you to age a child up early. The chart at the bottom here shows those eligibility months for infant, toddler, preschool, and school age. So if the system is able to successfully age the child up, this is the notification that you'll see on the home notification. Placement aged up, it'll tell you which placement, and you can view it if you need to, or you can archive it. If you're seeing this notification, there's no further action required on your part. If the system is unable to age up the child, a notification will appear on the home page. It'll say placement Ageup failed, and it will give you more information about it, and you can make the necessary changes from there. Age out notifications also appear during attendance validation after attendance has been submitted. This is what that notification looks like. This one will give you more information. It'll tell you the child, it'll tell you where they have attendance at as recently as the date, which is over the maximum for the selected program type, and it'll tell you when it should have ended, and you can remedy it from there. A placement that has aged out must be resolved or billing will be rejected when it's submitted. Some further notes on Ageup. CCFA will not automatically age up a special needs child, and CCFA will not automatically age up a preschool child who turns 5. This is to accommodate the different school year start dates and school ages between districts. If a child turns 5 during the authorization period, CCFA will allow the subsidy administrator to select the exempt from placement by age flag when initially entering the placement in CCFA. The next couple slides will cover this in a little bit more detail. So we have an example of a placement here who's currently 4. He has a full-time authorization that spans from August 14th of 2015 to August 13th of 2016. He's in a center-based preschool program, and his birthday is July 7th. So when this placement is created, the exempt flag must be checked because he'll turn 5 during the summer and will enter school in the fall. This allows him to remain in the current program until the start of the school year. If the child turns 5 in the calendar year, he or she is eligible for kindergarten. If he or she turns 5 after the start of the school calendar year, the subsidy administrator can use the exempt flag. This allows the child to remain in the preschool program until the next school calendar year. The family may choose not to send the child to kindergarten if he or she is 5 before the start of the school calendar year. In this case, the subsidy administrator can use the exempt flag as well, and this will allow the child to remain in the preschool program until the next school calendar year. Moving on to contract activity reports. You have 2 options for reports. The first one is a summary. This provides a summary of how the slots are utilized on a monthly level within a given time frame. So you could select, a 6-month period, a 3-month period, the wider lens, how those slots are utilized, and it shows the programs and the placements within them. The contract line activity, the monthly report, provides a summary of how slots are utilized on a daily basis within a given month. So for example, you maybe want to see how the slots were utilized in January, and you could pull that up and it would show you each day. Some common issues that occur with slot management. You must complete reassessments prior to the expiration of the existing authorization. Failure to complete timely reassessments may result in the child's authorization expiring and being replaced by a child in the flex pool. CCFA sends reassessment notifications at 90, 60, and 30 days, and a reassessment can be completed at any time within that time frame. Some common questions that we've had surrounding slot management. What if a child ages up but flex pool is full? In that case, the admin should reach out to the CCR&R to get that child a voucher. Or what if the provider doesn't offer voucher care? In that case, the child must be moved to another program. What if a child ages up and their provider doesn't offer care in the next age group? Again, here the child must be moved to another program that does offer care in that age group. And what if there are no vouchers available? EEC regulations and policies ensure continuity of care, and if this situation arises, EEC will handle it. Some other common questions that have come up are what if CCFA ages a child up and places him or her in a slot that was meant for a new authorization beginning later in the same week? You need to be sure that you are tracking the Ageup notifications. You can see these notifications on the home page. There is an Ageup tab. CCFA sends notices starting at 45 days before a child ages up. What if a child ages up from toddler to preschool and the provider doesn't have any available slots at their site, but there are slots available at another provider under the same contract? CCFA will utilize slots on the contract. The child can remain at the current provider so long as the provider isn't over their licensing capacity and has a contract for the program type the child has aged up to. If you have any questions, please email them to the CCFA training email listed below.